Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Wiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less to grow your business. Today, our guest is Tai Goodwin Castens, and she is the CEO of Aligned and Bankable. She's the creator of the Conscious Marketing School, and she helps coaches, consultants, and thought leaders become masters at marketing so that they can reach more people, change more lives, and grow their wealth. As an intuitive business growth strategist and teacher, Tai's specialty is helping clients create aligned businesses that allow them to increase their impact and income without burning out. Welcome, Tai. It's a pleasure to have you.
It is a pleasure to be here with you, Cindy. Thank you for the invitation.
Truly my pleasure. I absolutely love your message. I love your work. So thank you. And to begin with, can you please describe a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success?
You know, I think one of the personal challenges that I really had to overcome was really owning my brilliance. When I first started out, I kind of wanted to look like and sound like and be like the people that I saw at the top of the chain. You know, when you're in a corporate environment, which is where I come from, that's what you do. You find the people who are at the top and you emulate what they do. And in an entrepreneurial world, you can't really do that and do it well. You have to really find what makes you unique, your own language, your own imagery, your own wording. And of course, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. However, everything can have its own unique spin that's connected to your personality and how you want to show up. And it took a long time for me to let go of always trying to do what I saw other people doing.
Right.
And what would happen was I began to discount my own ideas or discount my own way of being in the world. And the truth of the matter is, for me and for everybody else, that there are people that are waiting for us to show up just as we are. And when we don't do that, they can't find us.
Exactly. And I love that you shared that. Of all the people that I've interviewed, nobody has really said, you know, we always talk about the corporate world and it's a dog-eat-dog world and everything, but that's so true. We are taught to emulate our leaders there. If we want to grow, we have to emulate them. And nobody has never brought that side of it to it, which is huge, that we can't do that on and with an online business because we have to be ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I know that with your message and to help people even discover their brilliances that you created for business architects for the online world. So what led you to creating these?
Well, one of my very first iterations of being an entrepreneur, I got really good at doing social media management. And it was because I was doing social media for myself, and people were like, "Oh, you're so great. Can you teach me? Can you show me?" Okay, well, I can make money doing this. And I remember I was what I call an employedpreneur, which means that I had a day job and I had a business on the side. And I had gotten to a point where I made $5,000 in 1 month from my part-time business. And I was scared. Can I say the S word here?
Yes, you can. You can say anything.
I was scared. I was scared shitless, Cindy, because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do twice as much of this to make twice as much money. And it totally like freaked me out. And so I started like not following up with people. I started dodging phone calls. I wasn't as active in my business because I was resisting that because I didn't want to do more of it. And then I realized what the challenge was. It wasn't that I wasn't good at it. It wasn't that I couldn't make money from it, but it's not how I'm wired to serve. I was what I call an actualizer, someone who likes to get their hands in there, you know, your graphic designers, your healers, the people that love to go in and solve it for you. My attributes, I'm a teacher and a catalyst, or what I call a guide and a catalyst. And that means that I am great at helping people activate their plans, like figure out what's the strategy behind this. And I'm also great at explaining things to people in a way that makes it easy for them to understand.
Mhm. I want to back up just a minute because to me this is so huge. You would agree. So you self-sabotaged yourself. You said you stopped returning calls, you stopped doing this. And so many people, you can know how to do something, but if it's not your brilliance, if it's not aligned with who you are, and all of this was subconsciously, you weren't saying, hey, I'm not going to make these phone calls because I don't want to do my business. It was this internal resistance that you had, which created all these self-sabotaging habits that wasn't conducive to your business because your business was not aligned with your archetype.
Absolutely. And I see so many burnt out entrepreneurs that are that way. And they end up hating their business almost as much as they hated working in a day job.
Mm-hmm.
And, like if that's the case, go back and get a day job. At least you have a steady income and you get vacation days. If you're in a business, you don't get that. You've got to show up every day if you want to generate a consistent income flow as an entrepreneur. And so that's what led me to really starting to take a look at what are the patterns that I see out there in the service-based world.
So Tai, with the archetypes, you created 4 different archetypes that you see, of online business entrepreneurs. So can you tell us what each of these 4 archetypes are and a little bit about what's unique about each archetype?
Sure can. So, the trailblazer, well, let me back up 1 second. So there's no one archetype that's better than the other, right? And nobody is just one archetype. We usually have, a combination or blend of them. And so I don't want people to think, well, oh, I'm this bucket and I'm that bucket, but I'm not ever that. But the four archetypes that came to me are the trailblazer. The trailblazers are people like Oprah Winfrey. Like she's got a platform and a huge community, and people flock to her. She's a big visionary. She's sewing into all different kinds of programs and things, and she's a real leader that's out there in the forefront. After that, you have someone who's a guide, and you can think of it like she had Deepak Chopra on her show.
Right.
And he's a guide, all right? So she's created this platform, and then she invites a guide in to, get the story out and to help spread his message, right? So that's the guide. And the guides, we're kind of more like teachers. We have a lot of wisdom, we have experience, and we're really gifted at finding ways to share that with people. Then you have what I call a catalyst. And a catalyst is someone who is really focused on helping people activate their plans. They're focused on helping people create strategies and implement and hold people accountable. So they're going to be like your coaches and your consultants. And then finally, you have your actualizers, and those are the people that are hands-on. Those are your healers, your graphic designers, your WordPress people, all the people that will, if you say I have a problem, they will take
assistants.
Yes, absolutely. They will take it and do it for you.
Yes. Behind every great coach is a great virtual assistant. No, I
agree. Behind every profitable coach is a great virtual assistant.
And so you had explained, that you can be more than one. And whenever you start learning about these archetypes, like whenever we spoke, like I'm definitely a teacher. However, I'm also a bit of a visionary because I like trying new things and exploring new things. So how does one even start combining these different archetypes to really tap into their brilliance?
So I have a quiz, and the quiz, there's a couple of different parts to it. The first part, there's the quiz, and the quiz will help you find out what your primary archetype is. And that's a place where people can start. But then there's actually more work to do behind that, where you're mapping out, where you can see like the percentages of where you are, so that you begin to create what I call your brilliance zone. So for example, like using you're a teacher, but you're also a trailblazer. And so what that means is your business may look different than somebody else who maybe their primary archetype is actualizer, but they're also a trailblazer. And so what you start to see are all these different facets and how things play out. And it also impacts how people build their businesses. and how they market their business.
I would think too, with any coach, entrepreneur, that we have a little bit of all of them in us. Probably a lot of us would be the least, but then there are some people who really hold on to this. Is the catalyst? That's the one that's the doer, right?
The actualizer is the one that's the doer.
The actualizer. So I would think maybe that, because I know that there's a lot of coaches who from day one just have all these ideas and have other people do it for them. But there's a lot of coaches such as me who I had to learn to do everything myself before I could get somebody to do it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's just part of the entrepreneurial journey. And, it's interesting. And I think that we also learn that in corporate, and that's one of the other, that's a challenge I know that I had too when switching out of a corporate job, is that, you're so used to doing everything.
Right.
And I worked in the learning and development department. I was a, training specialist, instructional designer. And so you're used to wearing a lot of hats. And so it can be really hard to let go of that in your business. And it doesn't mean that you're bad at it. Sometimes it just means that, you're able to make more money and serve more people and actually have a life if you're able to let go of some of those things.
And a lot, I think, even tapping into a limiting belief, a lot of people have a hard time letting go of these things because they think, that old saying, if you want something done right, do it yourself. And they want it to be perfect. So does that fall into all of the archetypes, or do some of the archetypes have a less challenge with this?
I don't think they have a less challenge with it because it's not an archetype thing. That's more of a trust thing. Right? It's trust and boundaries. If you have a hard time communicating to people, you're going to have a hard time building a relationship with a virtual team. If you have a hard time delegating, that could be for anybody. You can be an actualizer who needs to grow your business, which means you need to bring on more people, and you could still have a hard time delegating to others. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know why that popped into my mind, but it did. And I know that you've been recently, you've been doing a series about hiding in plain sight. So how do people hide in plain sight and are, again, with the different archetypes, with the different archetypes, is there a difference in the way that they hide in plain sight?
There isn't a difference in the way that people hide in plain sight, but what I find is that there's a difference in what they need to do so they can stop hiding in plain sight. Right? So I'll give you one of the stories, and, thank you for mentioning this series. It's 4 stories, and these are based on actual client conversations that I've had. And, I'll tell you a little snippet of one of the stories is, a woman that's coming to me saying that, she can't find her client. She can't find the right clients. And so when I dig into, asking her, she's like, well, I'm doing Facebook, I'm doing email, I'm doing LinkedIn, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm going to networking events. And then I finally said, well, talk to me about your networking event. And this was a graphic designer, and she'd gone to this networking event with one of her friends who was an essential oils, like network marketing thing.
Right.
And she was like, oh, it was a great event. I was like, well, did you meet any potential clients? Well, no, because they have to use their company website.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so you spent all this time and energy trying to be visible in something where your people weren't there. That's what I call hiding in plain sight. And so if she's a trailblazer, what she'd want to do is she'd need to form her own community, right? Her own tribe. You think of people like Seth Godin, I think, who was one of the women that coined that term tribe, right? That's a trailblazer. Trailblazers need community to thrive. And if she wants to stop hiding in plain sight, she can't go to her friend's networking event where there's nobody there, that's really going to use her services. She'd want to form her own. And I'll give you another example how the archetypes play into this. Let's say if this was somebody who was an actualizer, right? And what she is, she does it for people. Then the way she would need to stop hiding is that she'd want to be the person in front of the room doing a demo.
Exactly.
And not just being a person that's there, oh, well, I guess I'll just learn what they're learning because I'm here, right? She's going to attract people by sharing the successes that she's had for other people. And the best way for her to do that is to show a demo.
I really like that. And it's so interesting how we can hide in plain sight. I know a lot of people who they're like, I need more visibility. I need more visibility. But really, they're self-sabotaging themselves, just like you were at the beginning, because they really don't want to be visible because of all these fears. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh my, I just talked to a client about this the other day, and it was so funny. Like, I love using Zoom.
Mhm.
It's a godsend for coaches because there's
Yeah.
something that you can see. And as we were getting really concrete, right, in mapping out what her business model was going to look like. And the more concrete we got with things that she could actually do and charge people money for, I watched her go like this. I'm watching her.
Oh,
And I said, this is causing you some anxiety. And so it really turned into a great conversation about having fear of being rejected.
mhm.
And as long as you can stay in this thing of I got ideas, I got ideas, I got ideas, and you never have to put anything out, you don't have to worry about being rejected, right?
And well, to an extent, I mean, what is this word about being rejected? If you throw like the opposite in there, that's
Yeah,
we want to be loved by everybody. And whenever we stop having that, oh, everybody has to love me, everybody has to love my business, and know that we're here to serve who we're here to serve. And the people that quote unquote reject us or don't like us, we don't need them. I mean, there's too many people in this world that you just want to connect with the people you're meant to serve. And I think that the rejection really goes into that everybody has to love me.
yeah, I think that could be one thing, and I think it's
Mhm.
also it can go a little deeper. One of the
Mhm.
things that so I go in quarterly cycles, and my
Uh-huh.
next cycle in July is all about content to cash flow and how
Mhm.
bankable brilliance is part of my moniker. But after that, I'm going to be talking about, is your business traumatized? Because there's
Ah.
a lot that have experienced trauma, and they
Mhm.
bring that same mindset, those same hurts
Exactly.
and fears into their business, and then they're wondering why they
Mhm.
can't grow. And there's people I've told, so you don't need another marketing plan,
Yeah.
you don't need another Facebook account, but you got to work on the inner stuff, because
Yes.
message that you're meant to bring forth into the world isn't going to be able to come through if you don't deal with all that inside stuff.
Mhm. And it's so true. And it's always the inner game. One of my mentors, his famous sayings was always, you can only grow your business as fast as you grow yourself. And that's because of the inner game. Uh,
Yeah.
and I look at Oprah, even you have this fear of rejection or the traumatized past. Oprah, whether you love her or hate her, she is, to me, one of the most inspirational people, and especially women, that ever lived.
I agree.
Because, first of all, if you look back to her earlier years, the trauma she experienced, the poverty and everything else, and then even breaking into radio back whenever she did, it was still a man's world. And here's this Black woman that comes in and gets into radio and, finally winds up, with her own show. And everybody knows her name, her first name. She's to me this wondrous, wondrous woman who had so many obstacles against her, being a woman, being Black, the
Being over,
era she brought up in, and
yeah,
the trauma of her past. Pardon
yeah.
me?
But also, I'm being overweight. I mean,
Oh,
that's what,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
personal struggle that I've struggled with. I've gained a lot of weight in the last 5 or 6 years. And there was a time where I was like, well, I'm not going to go on stage and speak because I don't like the way I look right now.
Right.
And I over that, I said, that's some bullshit,
Mhm.
I'm going to get over that, because regardless of what the container looks like, my message is still relevant and people still need to hear what I have to say. One of the things I absolutely love about Oprah is that with all those obstacles and those things that she had in her past,
Mhm.
she never let that define or
Right.
limit what her work was going to be. And I
Mhm.
see a lot of us, they call us, the heartfelt entrepreneurs and that kind of stuff. And we believe that because we've experienced this trauma, that
Right.
our business has to be based around that. And yes, you can leverage the experiences that you've had and the empathy that and compassion you may be able to have, but that doesn't mean that your business has to be around that. Oprah, didn't say, well, I need to be a family counselor, or I
Right.
need to only focus on, kids who've been abused. That happened. She learned those lessons. It's made her compassionate. It's made her fiercely resilient.
Right.
And she still went on to pursue a bigger vision.
And, to her vulnerability with just her weight, with her past, whenever she's talked to so many different experts on her show. But one of the things that I think, she's a trailblazer, and nobody's going to not say that she's not. But honestly, with most people today, especially, women, I mean, where would we be without Oprah? How much has she impacted, our personal lives, even though we've never, ever met her in person? And this is why I think everybody needs to really tap into their own brilliance and utilize it so they can share, because where would you be without the trailblazers in your life?
Oh, absolutely.
And it's these people, yeah, they make us grow. And maybe you're not a trailblazer, maybe you're an actualizer, but just like we were talking about earlier, is Oprah doesn't do everything herself. There's no way. And even whenever she started, she didn't,
Right. Yeah.
So you have to, there's this team of the 4 different archetypes that blend and work so well with each other.
Absolutely. And something exciting. I got challenged by another woman that I'm connected to really dig deeper and listen to more what the archetypes want to say. And so this might be kind of woo woo for some folks, but listen, I love woo woo. And I tell my
I do
clients,
too.
bring all of your woo woo and we will figure out how to monetize it. But one of the things she asked me, well, what else do the archetypes want to say? And so where this is going next is that I'm realizing that this whole brilliant zone, that first archetype, which is your primary archetype, right? And that's how you operate right now. The second archetype is usually what magnifies or multiplies your gift. The third archetype is the one that you need to work on. And the fourth one, the one that's your lowest score, that's going to be the one where you need to find a good partner, or maybe you need to hire someone to do those things for you or with you. And so it really blossomed into really understanding how all of these 4 things can work together for your business. And I'm excited to say that this is even going to work out for people in their careers as well.
Oh, I'm sure. I love that. And I love the way that you just worded that. That's brilliant. And why is it the third one that you need to work on?
Sometimes because, it's not hard and fast. Like, this is it. Like, this is the only way you'll ever operate. There are going to be times when people are evolving. I'll give you an example. One of my clients was an actualizer. She was a holistic practitioner. But what really she wanted to do was teach more. She was already a trailblazer, right? And so what that led her to was she actually has now founded a school around holistic occupational therapy. And she had to develop that teaching skill because she never did a whole lot of teaching before. But learning how to put together the classes and learning how to do all the things that would make her a really organized and effective teacher was the thing that she had to bring up to the forefront, right? And so it's figuring out how you are evolving through those archetypes and through the energy of those archetypes over the time and journey of your business.
Brilliant. You're just so brilliant, Tai.
Thank you,
I love that you created this, and definitely is so valuable in our business to learn about these archetypes and utilize our brilliance, because that's going to help you reach more people and make more money. And
Yes.
Tai, can you share a strategy that our listeners can implement in 15 minutes or less to grow their business?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many. Okay. So I think my favorite one right now is spend 15 minutes cleaning out your inbox. Detox. And here's why this is so critical. It just sounds so simple, like, well, yeah, I know how to do that. If you're getting a whole lot of stuff because you've signed up for a whole lot of stuff and it's in your inbox, where is the space for the people to come in that are giving you money?
Right.
Right. And so it's about clearing out those things. And you do the same thing. It can go from your inbox. It can be your email list. You've got all these folks that are taking up space on your email list. None of them are buying anything from you. Detox that environment and get that energy out of your inbox. Get it out of your email list. If you've got a Facebook community or group, right? Get that energy and those people out of there that aren't contributing, because that's how you're creating more space and more energy for the real people the real opportunities, the real information and insight you need to flow
Mhm.
into your business and life.
That is a great strategy. It's an absolute great strategy. So thank you for sharing that. It's so true. I actually did this myself not too long ago. Just started cleaning out my own inbox. Also because I had like saved everything from everything. And I was like, okay, I don't need all these emails from my coaching clients in 2010, right? And it's interesting because it frees you energetically. And it was like, just like whenever you clean your house or your closet, and then you're just like, oh, it feels so good and spacious. I know I felt the same spaciousness after I cleaned my
Yeah.
email. So it's so interesting that I just did that and you mentioned this strategy. I'm like, yeah, that's a great strategy.
Yes, I try to keep things practical, I mean, because we can get deep, but there's
Yeah,
some real practical things, tangible things that we can do to
right.
shift our business sometimes.
Mhm. Thank you very much for sharing that strategy with us. And I know, Ty, you have a wonderful gift for our community. So can you share a little bit about it?
Yeah, so we talked about those 4 archetypes. And so I actually have a quiz where you can go and you can find out what your primary archetype is. And after you take the quiz, if you check the appropriate box, what will happen is you'll actually get an email course that will give you even more insight into the best ways to monetize your business, the best way to market your business that's
Right.
in alignment with your archetype.
Mm-hmm. And it's so right on. And I really enjoyed this gift. So to our participants, you want to head on over to bizsuccessin15.com/TAI, T-A-I, and grab your Discover Your Brilliant Zone assessment and take it and really take it to heart, because whenever you know where your brilliance is, it's going to help you build an aligned and more profitable business. And you
Absolutely.
also, yeah, and you'll also be able to re-listen to Ty's words of wisdom. You can download this episode to re-listen to it anytime at your convenience. And Ty, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
I do. Embrace your brilliance, because that's what's going to allow you to be most visible to the people that really do need you. It's amazing how much of a ripple effect you'll create just by showing up and being yourself.
Mm-hmm. The ripple effect. I love that. So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Ty, for being my guest today. It's truly been a pleasure. Always a pleasure to speak to you.
Same here, Cindy. I am so excited to get to speak with you again. And I look forward to sharing your message about visibility out there with the world.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to share it with your friends. Uh, you want to hop on over to bizsuccessin15.com/Ty. You can have the audio, the video version of today's show. All links that were mentioned on today's show will be there. And also, as I said earlier, you can re-listen to today's episode. You can catch up on past episodes, get some more juicy tidbits on 15-minute strategies to grow your business. And be sure to grab Ty's gift to you, Discover Your Brilliant Zone assessment. And as soon as you get it, take it and really take to heart everything that you learn. With that, big hugs. Have a great week. And be sure to tune in next week to another episode of Biz Success in 15. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.